who is watching us live. I take this pleasure in presenting before you the World Heritage List. UNESCO has a World Heritage List. What is UNESCO? UNESCO is the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. Vijayapur, a city with a rich heritage, has to its credit no less than 80 listed monuments. Vijayapur today has 80 listed monuments by the Archaeological Survey of India. None of the cities around us has so many heritage precincts. Vijayapur is very, very lucky to have not only the monuments, but also lots and lots of open space around it, which makes it very, very rich. Today, if you look at the metros, metros are dying. Jane Jacobs writes in her book, Death and Life of Great American Cities. You know how the great American cities have died and how the great American cities have come to life. And this death is because there is no open space. And life is because there is that lung space. Open space is known as a lung space. Vijayapur is the most luckiest amongst so many of our cities around us. See, the United Nations UNESCO has laid 10 criteria to include any precinct or monument or heritage site into its list. And out of these 10 criteria, even if they qualify one, they will be able to be included into the list. But I must tell you that Vijayapur is even fortunate there. We don't have just one, but we have four such criteria where Vijayapur as a total city, not as a only Gol Gumbaz. Many of us only speak about Gol Gumbaz. Some of us speak about Ibrahim Roza. No, I'm talking about the complete city, the city of Vijayapur. It is the richest amongst any other cities throughout the country. There are four such criteria in which I will tell you about the four. It is a human creative genius. Everyone knows that today's genius has already appreciated that the creation of such a great wonder, which marks on the international list, is very, very rich, and it is no doubt a genius task. And it is definitely architecture, the second criteria, and it is definitely monumental art. If you look at the third one, it is the cultural tradition. What is the cultural tradition? It is the tradition that goes on for years and years, and we see in the form of buildings, in the form of people, in the form of the heritage that we look around us. If you look at the last, it is the outstanding architectural or technological building. We have, as I told you, 80 buildings, not just one building. UNESCO has 80 reasons to include all our buildings into the heritage list. Now coming to there are 35 cultural sites which are already listed by the UNESCO, and 7 natural sites, and 1 is mixed. In all, our country has 43 sites which are listed by UNESCO. And out of these 43, we have 35 of them which have already drawn the attention, and they are approved, and they are getting revenue. They are getting funds, international funds. And now India has received 7.25 crores of rupees. There is a tentative list, and 56 heritage sites have been included this year, in which the Sultanate of Vijayapur and Bidar is also included. And this city has very similar to the cities like Ahmedabad and Jaipur. Ahmedabad of Gujarat and Jaipur of Rajasthan. They are the only 2 cities throughout our country which are listed as heritage cities. And we shall be proposing Vijayapur as the 3rd heritage city. If you look at the types of monuments that we also have A-grade monuments. In the past, in 2011, if you look there, Gumbaz loses out on World Heritage Tag again. This is presented by the Times of India. This is on 20th June 2011. We lose the opportunity to get it tagged. And then on 13th of June 2013, government seeks heritage status for Gumbaz. They are still seeking. They are not unable to, they are not able to include it in the tentative list as well. And down the line, if you look at the last year when we presented our case to the minister H.K. Patil, what did he say? He said that he regretted that despite having every potential, the Adil Shahi monument has yet to enter the list of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. People are wondering, and the minister comes here and only then knows that this is not included. Such a wonder, such a great wonder. This is a wonder immediately after Gol Gumbaz. And this is what is the status that we are prevailing with the loggerheads and with the people who are responsible to take it up and give it to enter it just into the tentative list. I must tell you that the until the heritage site is listed under the tentative list, it cannot be proposed to the UNESCO. Only once it comes in the tentative list, only then it can be taken up in the UNESCO listing. Now, what are the benefits? India is already a state party since 1977. And if you look there, they have the privilege of having the preferred funding. We are a state party. And the UNESCO has 1,052 listed heritage sites. And then international and then the international funding that the tourism will also have it, because it has to its credit that the people across the world already know Bijapur. Bijapur is not new to this whole world. It improves the image of the city. It improves the quality of life of the people of the place. And then there is something known as the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. The Sustainable Development Goals are launched by the United Nations, and they have a program that any city be developed on the basis of the sustainability, and there are certain goals. And then next, coming to the act, it is 1904 when this act was launched. Until today, the Archaeological Survey of India has 3,679 heritage listed buildings or listed sites. But to our wonder, there are only 34 circles. There is a circle office. And this circle office for Vijayapur, which has more than 80 listed monuments, is not in Vijayapur, but it is in Dharwad. And we don't know when they visit Vijayapur, when do they have time to visit Vijayapur. And to tell you the fact, the encroachments around the whole of the city heritage sites is actually bothering. You know why the last time it was not listed by the UNESCO? What did UNESCO tell us? UNESCO told us that there is some slum area which is developed in the precinct of Gol Gumbaz. You kindly remove them, give them a proper place so that they can be placed in a right place where under the Ashray Yojana or any other Yojana they can be honored with their houses and they can be shifted from this place. I'm talking about 2011 and down the line, 13 years today, just shifting those houses is not yet happened. You can understand the pace with which we are working. And it is not that the houses were not distributed. Every time you will hear that there are so many houses being distributed, but we don't know it is distributed to whom. Unless the people of the place understand these things, it is not possible for anyone to achieve anything. If you look at the state, I will directly go to the West Bengal, the last line you can see there. West Bengal has only 133 in the whole of the state, not the city. And they have two circles or two circle offices. And Karnataka also has only two circle offices. While you can see second in the list, it is 506 such heritage monuments and sites that Karnataka has. We have certain goals. There are short-term and long-term goals. In the short-term goals, there has to be some maintenance fund. If you go to any site, it is lying just like that with all that Congress grass and a lot of weeds and a lot of garbage around it. It is not cleaned anytime. Instead, we add more garbage to the sites every time. People around them, they put more garbage because already there is a lot of garbage there. I think that is the right place to dump our garbage. This is what is the thought that promotes others to garbage our heritage sites. But believe me, there are so many government offices that are already there. Mullah sir has very rightly said that if we can get some rent out of the occupation by our government offices, you can name them. The DC's office is today in a monument. The SP bungalow, the DC's residence. The Anand Mahal was also previously occupied. And even today, if you go there, you have the Totagarike Ilake, which is very much functioning in this premise. We have so many of them which are actually there, and they need to pay some rent so that we can sweep the garbage out. And more so, if this work is given to our own CMC or the city municipal corporation, it would be great because they are already keeping the whole city clean. I must say that it is really clean. In the past 10 years, Vijayapur has experienced this, and I must congratulate the corporation. And definitely under the Swachh Abhiyan, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, we must congratulate our Prime Minister. There is the CSR, or a corporate social responsibility, in which all these institutions around, there are banks, there are hospitals, and there are all these corporate offices who have a fund, and this fund is going to some other places. If this can be diverted for the enhancement of these institutions or these heritage precincts, it would be great. And then it can be adopted. All these sites can also be adopted. And to tell you the fact, of late, our Taj Gori was adopted by TCS. Tata Consultancy Services has adopted. And our Pulangi tank is adopted by Sudhamurthy. And Anand Mahal is adopted by our own SICAP group of institutions. There can be limited partnership that can happen. And there are people, there are experts who can contribute in bringing up Vijayapur as an enhanced place or a city. And as you all know, there is global warming happening, and climate action is very much needed. And because of this global warming, our city monuments and all others are continuously deteriorating. And this deterioration, if you Google out uh, climate clock, if you Google out climate clock, it will tell you that we are counting down, and the world is experiencing that there will be glaciers which will be melting soon. We have only 5 years from now, and it will be melting soon, and we are every day adding with more vehicles. And then the last 6 long-term goals that we can take up is we can increase the archaeological survey of India's number of circles, and we can have one in Vijayapur. And then these days, we are hearing more about privatization, and our government, central government, is very keen on privatizing. We must take this advantage, and we must privatize the 6 tasks that Archaeological Survey of India takes up. Archaeological Survey of India has exploration, conservation, documentation, education, management, and research. All these need to be privatized, and our government will be happy to accept it. All we have to do is just give a representation and a request. And then we have PPT and BOT. The people, private people partnership, and the build, operate, and transfer. These are the ways in which you can invite the builders and the developers. And there must be a bottom up, meaning people have to come up. There is top down, where the government comes down with some programs and policies, but we have to rise from the bottom to the up. And then inclusivity of lot of colleges. We have so many architectural colleges across the country. They can be entrusted all these tasks. There are so many engineering colleges. They can be entrusted these tasks. They must be involved. They must be their qualifications and their expertise must be honored. And I have some recommendations in which Bijapur, when an international tourist lands in Mumbai, he can come through Bijapur and then go to Hampi. And this way we can create a corridor, Mumbai, Vijayapur, Hampi corridor. Because Hampi and Patankal are already on the UNESCO list. Second one is we have the smart cities program. We must give a proposal to include Vijayapur is not yet included in the 100 smart cities of our country. We must give a proposal. We are talking about giving a proposal for UNESCO, but we are unable to convince our own government sitting in Delhi. And we are unable to give a proposal to take this up and include it in the smart cities program. If they avoid Belgaum or Belgavi from Mumbai, Belgavi to Hampi, if they come through Vijayapur, they will be saving 70 kilometers and their route will be the shortest. And Vijayapur Hampi is just 213 kilometers and this corridor can be developed. And then, as I've already said that, there are so many institutions, there must be a participation and very good development has happened under H.K. Patil minister. We must thank him for having offered Anand Mahal to Sikya group of institutions. I thank you one and all for having given me a patient ear. Thank you so much.
Professor Irshad Ahmed Punekar, we are grateful for your enlightening perspectives.